Hello everyone, welcome back to a YouTube video because I can't be bothered to put any footage in, and I can't be bothered to look at photos because the game has haunted me all night. All right, first things first, the goal that Atleti scored against us. I'm not like the highest level of football I ever played was like generously I'll call it semi-pro. Um, I don't know like the I don't know enough about the sport or the tactics to say what went wrong in the first goal. It's elite level football, and I don't know if it's Maguire's fault because he's an £80 million centre back who should be able to head the football against something out of one direction. But also Shaw seemed to let him pass it off. Our defence pushed out, which I think is the correct thing to do in that situation. Fred slips, that ball from Lodi is world class. I don't know if De Gea's incorrectly positioned. The header is amazing, and it goes in off the post. I'm sorry, lads, I don't know enough to say what. I can't offer an opinion on it. I don't know who's at fault, what's gone wrong, if it's a combination of things. I don't have that understanding of football, and that's a great way to start a tactics video, isn't it? Um, but the other the other two things I want to talk about is we miss Scott McTominay. I know a lot of you don't like him. We always say this. Um, we missed him so badly, and hopefully he's okay because we're weak in midfield, and you will have noticed that you can now add Simeone to the list of managers that rates him highly. But what else do we need to do? De Gea. Now, I bet you'll think I'm going to go in on De Gea, and you're half right. Because De Gea was responsible for two corners that shouldn't have been corners in the first half, one leading to a goal. Um, he's got to stop it. But this is where I'm going to shock you. I thought De Gea played quite well. It's the best I've seen him play for years. He used the ball well, and he came up. What he didn't do, and something that we really, really, really need him to start doing, is coming and claiming balls in the box. I don't know if you noticed, but this week, Ronaldo was going mental at him for not claiming a cross you would expect the highest paid footballer, sorry, the highest paid goalkeeper in the history of professional football to come and claim. But I thought he was okay, and I actually have checked it, and he was okay. You look at his passing. Um, Look, 7 out of 10 basically for long passes. Uh, that's not disgraceful. But this 100% short, 100% medium. Much, much more of this, please, De Gea. If we go to um, defensive actions, though, goalkeeper, 7 crosses faced, not stopped. As a sweeper, this is massively over the top for De Gea because of that run he made out to Varane. But look, this wasn't his worst performance at all. He had no chance with the goal. As I say, I don't know enough about it, but although he still put too much pressure on the team with those two corners, hopefully we can see something going forward. Right, let's diss some more people. Um, right, who do you want to start with? Should we start with Pogba? Pogba played like he was filming a documentary last night and didn't want to get involved. A disgraceful performance. Um, Another disgraceful performance, and I don't want to be, I don't want to give in to hyperbole, but I cannot remember a worse midfield performance than Bruno Fernandes last night. I genuinely, I can't think of one from a Manchester United player. I have never seen anything like it. It's the worst. I just don't know what to say about it. He lost the ball too much for a professional footballer. I know he got an assist. It's a lucky assist. It's still an assist. And Alanga, I mean, that goal is something that I would be disappointed if I went to watch. I don't know, like if I went to watch Darlington and they conceded that goal, I'd be like, look, this is League Two. You can't be conceding goals like this where people are falling over. But anyway, Bruno Fernandes, I thought, put in the worst performance I've seen from a professional footballer at Manchester United, which is quite something to say. But I do genuinely believe it. But Bruno's got credit in the bank, but I don't know. Anyway, Rashford. I thought that Rashford actually worked quite hard last night, and I normally don't say that. And I've actually gone and checked it to make sure it's just not me desperately hoping that Rashford isn't finished as a footballer. But you can see he put in quite a lot of pressures, like compared to Sancho. He put in a lot of pressures. They were quite successful. He blocked high up the pitch. I I mean, there's no getting around it. He was terrible last night, and something's wrong with him. But in the 74 minutes he played, um, he put in more pressures on the ball than Sancho. And at one point, I thought that Sancho and Rashford had to be swapped because Rashford wasn't doing his defensive work. But I don't know what to say about Rashford. I love him. He's one of us. Like De Gea, for me, is not one of us. He throws his teammates under the bus. He's a coward, constantly passing blame. But Rashford's one of us. We need to look after him. And I don't know what's going to happen to Rashford because I think I've thought for a long time that he might end up at PSG this summer, and I just I don't know what to say about it. All right, this is getting boring. Should we do some quick tactics? What went wrong? All right, PSG, sorry, not PSG, Atletico played a 5-3-2. Quite interestingly, the press was led by these two up here. So they would press up high, and then their fullbacks would press up high, and something quite interesting happened, right? There was a player, I think it was Llorente, I don't know, because I don't know their names, which is half the reason I've got this out, so I can look at their names. 14, Llorente, yeah, it was Llorente. So this four here is Savic, who used to play for Manchester City, and this is Llorente. Over here, this is Lodi, and this is, he was called like Ronaldo or something. Uh, Rinaldo. Mandava. Okay. This was Mandava. Mandava, when this press was high, would go out here and they would basically go into a back two and they would have like a good press coming in. But, hang on. Yeah. On the other side, Savic always stayed central and Llorente went out to do the press because I presume that Savic is more comfortable in the centre of the pitch, which is something I thought that we should really start going for. Like this area of space was always on, and I don't know what Ragnick was up to when he switched Sancho and Rashford, but this would have been on Sancho's side. And roughly, I'd say 5 or 6 minutes after I noticed what was going on, they switched wings. So I think that Ragnick identified it as well, and they were trying to get Rashford into that space. And I'm not saying that like I'm as good as Ralph Ragnick because I quite clearly am better. um, but what I'm saying is that I think that Rashford and Sancho switched wings for once, not because of Rashford's defensive work, but because of uh, isolating his pace. Now let's get to the real problems that we had. If you remember in the Middlesbrough game, no, if you remember in the Middlesbrough game, I talked about how you set up a to beat a back five, and this is what you do. You have inside forwards tying up the centre backs, and then you push your full backs up, tying up these guys here. A defensive midfielder who will just say is the 8 has to come back to sort of like to keep the block because they want a lot of 3-5-2 basically wants to protect this area. It always wants the most people in these lines, like vertical lines. So you will tend to find that you get a sort of formation like this with the team pushing up and you using a back three, right? That's what we wanted. Okay. The spare man was Fred. I don't know what you guys thought. I thought that Fred both played quite well and was also extremely lucky to not concede 2 goals off referees' decisions. I like Fred. I thought he was our best. I thought it's crazy. Do you know who I thought our best players were in the first half? I thought it was Maguire and Fred. Like Maguire was by far the best of the defensive players, and I thought Fred was by far our best midfielder. Um, Absolutely mental. So here, this was what was happening, right? This is the problem that I found. Lindelof, I know a lot of people have been talking about him as a CDM for some reason. He's a shit right back and he's a worse CDM. And I'll show you why. Because in this formation, if you look at what we want the inside forward being inside and we want the defender being outside, right? Because that creates more space. What was happening was this. Lindelof was playing on the same line as Rashford. This is amateur stuff, right? This means that he's not stretching the pitch and he's actually bringing their press closer to the ball. Absolutely awful. Also, in the Middlesbrough game, what we saw was when Bruno went forward, we would see an inversion from Delo to make a double pivot. Lindelof didn't do any of this. I'm extremely confused as to why Lindelof played. I thought Varane was crap. I think we can all agree that Varane looked like he had PTSD at some stage. Shaw, I thought, was abysmal as well. He lost the ball too much, and he played in this area here instead of getting forward. Bruno, I've said my piece on Bruno. Pogba, I thought was shit as well. But what we were finding was we were building up with the back three, trying to get Rashford isolated. Let me get all my people out. This is pretty much what we were playing as, right? And we got absolutely hammered in midfield because of this press. It was back to the old Ollie days of having 3 men on like 2 people. Like Fred, genuinely, if Pogba went forward, Fred was absolutely surrounded, and he did play well. Right, I think I'm boring everyone, so I'm probably going to stop this now. But this was a disgraceful performance. It was terrible tactics from Ragnick. We sorted it out by changing our fullbacks, which helped a lot. I thought the introduction Matic was decent, but I also felt he played a little bit too much on the edge with his carries. Like that's unsustainable from Matic. I know he's received a lot of praise, but I just felt that he would get caught out if he'd been on longer playing the way he did. Anthony Elanga, I'm still not convinced of his quality on the ball, but I love what he does off the ball with his running and his work rate. Anything else to add? No, probably not. This is shit. Fuck off.